The basis of any kitchen cabinet is a plywood box. And those boxes are divided into two types, lowers and uppers. Lowers tend to be 24 inches deep by 34.5 inches high. When you add an 1.5 inches top to that, it makes them 36 inches high. That being said, you can make the box any size you want. If you're taller or shorter, you can adjust it as your wishes. The most popular size in upper cabinets is 12 inches deep by 28 to 30 inches high. But they are made today as deep as 15 inches. In fact, that's what I did for my bar. The bottom side of the lower cabinet has what is called a toe kick in it. This is an indentation into the base of the box that is 3.5 inches high by 3 inches deep. And it allows you to step right up to the cabinet, have your toes under it, and work comfortably. There are two ways to make the toe kick. One is to build it into the box itself and just cut a notch in the side panel of your cabinet and put the floor at the same height as the toe kick. The other way is what is called the plinth method, and this is to build a 3.5 inch high framework that is 3 inches less in depth than your cabinet. This is often a good choice in a remodeling kitchen, and it's what I decided to do with my bar area because there was 5/8 of an inch of run out side to side in that cabinet, and the wall wasn't terribly straight either, so a plinth made a lot of sense. And that way you just have to build a box. I don't know that you save any wood in this deal, but it's easier if your floor is badly on level. Let's look at how we are going to now put this upper together, which will have shelves in it. And I'll be able to store a lot of stuff for my turning operation behind me. This is 28 inches high, is the sides. And what we need to do now is kind of inspect this wood. I usually try to get the best sides to be to the outside of the cabinet if it's going to show. If the sides are not going to show, I put the best sides to the inside. And we'll now draw what's called a carpenter's triangle, which is just a nice triangle here that points upward and overlaps the two halves of the cabinet. And we'll take the top and the bottom. Since nobody is going to see the top when it's hanging up high on the wall, the worst side can go to the top. I have a fairly bad side right here. This leaves me a really nice face here, a nice face here, and a nice face on the bottom, all of which could be seen. I will now draw another carpenter's triangle that overlaps the two pieces right here. Now I can tell left from right, up from down, anything I want to do. I know which way to orient the pieces. There's a lot of ways you can put these boxes together. A very good one is to simply apply glue to these two surfaces and use an 18 gauge air nailer with about 1.25 inch nail on it. Another method is biscuit joints, been around a long time. Loose tenons, which is what I'm using right now. Pocket screws can also be used to attach cabinet boxes together. And in fact, you can use countersunk drywall screws quite well to hold these boxes together, especially on ends that don't show. All right, our box is together. We've got our carpenter's triangles all aligned here. I'll put a couple of clamps on it and let the glue dry for a couple hours. And I can go on to build the face frame in the meantime. And the face frame will fit over the front here and be 2 inches wide on the bottom, and 1.5 inches wide on each side and the top. Well, there's my finished cabinet box. I simply glued the face frame on. I put a bead of glue around the edge of the box, put this down, centered it up, and put clamps on it for an hour or two. It should be noted that the slightly wider rail at the bottom actually hangs down 1/2 inch. This is a good practice on uppers for a lot of reasons. The most notable today being that you can often put a little strip of LED lighting under there that gives a beautiful light down on the counter, and you don't get any glare from that because it's hidden behind that reveal. You also need to put a back on the box, and this is 1/4 inch plywood in here, and I routed out a rabbet in the back 1/4 inch deep so this plywood could drop down in there. Being one to never throw anything away, I had some nice Luan plywood that was the crate to my Rikon bandsaw. Nobody's ever going to look at the back of this for a shop cabinet. The inside looks fine, so that's what I used. And I simply cut it to drop down in that rabbet and put a few 18 gauge nails through there with a air nailer, and I'm all set. If your cabinet is going to have drawers, that's lowers generally, but sometimes an upper as well. Most builders are going to 1/2 inch back material because most of your own undermount slides have clips that attach to the back, and 1/4 just isn't strong enough to hold that weight. So again, most people are going to that thicker back. For my lowers and my uppers actually too in my bar, I chose to simply cut a piece of 1/2 inch plywood that was the size, the outside size of the box, and drywall screw that with countersunk drywall screws into the box. And with some glue under it, it made the box immensely strong and will take the weight of the drawers. If the back shows on an outside edge, all I do is edge band that back piece with a piece of veneer and everything looks fine.